Hey everybody, I did a video lately about Bill Ackman's offer to turn real estate development company Howard Hughes Holdings into the next Berkshire Hathaway. I could see Tyler already starting to give me some weird facial expressions there. But before we dive in, please take a minute and check out the link you see on your screen, fool.com/Frankel for the top 10 stocks to buy right now from the Motley Fool. It's the best way to support this work we're doing on YouTube. Again, fool.com/Frankel. So
Matt, how dare you speak such heresy, calling something the next Berkshire Hathaway? How many times? This has been 60 years, and nobody's come close.
no one's come close. And to be honest, anytime someone calls something the next blank, you should probably approach it with a big grain of salt. If someone says this is going to be the next Uber, this is going to be the next McDonald's, maybe, but approach it with a big grain of salt.
History is not on your side when you make those statements.
No, it's not. I remember during the SPAC boom, they said a company called Vacasa was going to be the next Airbnb. And now compare I believe Airbnb's market cap is 1,000 times that of Vacasa. There were a lot of examples during the SPAC boom. There were a lot of those examples where this is going to be the next blank. And did any of them pan out? No. So here's the kind of details here. Howard Hughes Holdings, they're the parent company. They're a holding company, as the name implies. Their only business right now is Howard Hughes Corporation, which is a real estate development company. They develop big master plan communities. They're the company behind the Woodlands in Texas. A lot of people think that's its own city. It's not. It's a master plan community by Howard Hughes. Summerlin in the Las Vegas area is in Howard Hughes community. There are a bunch of examples of these. And Bill Ackman was instrumental in taking the company public. It used to be a subsidiary of a real estate investment trust called General Growth Properties. Around the time of the financial crisis, that one went away, and Bill Ackman was kind of instrumental in spinning off Howard Hughes Corporation, and became the chairman of the board, and eventually owned about 37% of the business. He's no longer chairman. He stepped down not that long ago, but he's expressed interest in wanting to own the whole thing. He recently put out a proposal that I'll spare you all the details. It's in true Bill Ackman fashion. It's a very complex deal. It took a 14-page explainer to even get the idea across. But long story short, Pershing Square would own anywhere between 61% and 69% of the company. Existing shareholders could choose to take $85 a share in cash, or hold their stock because some of it's still going to be publicly traded, or a combination of cash and stock. Pretty much Bill Ackman and other big investors are disappointed with the stock's performance, which isn't that big of a surprise because the business has, at a glance, done okay in the sense that it's executed its development vision. If Ackman does take control, Howard Hughes Corporation will essentially be left alone. The same management team will be in place, but Howard Hughes Holdings will be used as a holding company to buy up other businesses and things like that, essentially creating, as Ackman calls it, a modern-day Berkshire Hathaway. Now, it's a complex deal structure, and to be fair, there are some good aspects of it. I like the idea of creating a more diversified business. I like the idea of a larger buyback plan than Howard Hughes has. If the stock is undervalued, recent net asset value estimate put the per share value, just sum of the parts, at $118 a share. So part of Ackman's plan is to do an accelerated $500 million buyback, which if you could buy $118 of assets for $85, sure, do that as much as you can realistically do. I like that Howard Hughes Corporation would continue to be operated the same because I love its management team. But Tyler, generally, are you a fan of this deal? And if not, what do you see as the red flags?
Well, I can't say that. Number one, I don't really know if I'm a huge believer in this concept of Howard Hughes being the base for a huge, the next Berkshire, like something that's spitting out lots of cash that Ackman can then turn around and reallocate into new businesses and publicly traded equities and things like that. I don't. One of the things that gives me pause about that idea is as you mentioned, there are several developments that they have made, and those are somewhat cash generative. But they also have a massive development that has basically nothing but air or land right now, and it's outside of Phoenix, and it's I think it's substantially larger than any of the other developments that it has done anywhere else.
37,000 acres.
Yeah, it's massive. And the amount of capital that's going to be required to develop that project is going to, I could easily see it sucking up years and years and years of whatever free cash flow is available to Howard Hughes at any given moment. Yes, it'll take on leverage to do so, which is, fine. It's real estate. There's going to be leverage involved. But the equity has to come from somewhere, right? And equity means from internal cash flows. And this idea of trying to develop this massive master plan community outside of Phoenix, while at the same time throwing off billions in free cash flow that can be allocated into other businesses, it just doesn't add up. Like this massive development outside of Phoenix is going to take years. Like I think I would be conservative in saying at least 10. Don't you agree? Like maybe 20. And so if you're looking at something that's got a 10 to 20-year capital outlay, uh, where's all this cash going to come from Pershing Square that's going to, allow them to buy all these other separate businesses? I just don't see it. And the other thing that really would, like, if I was an owner of Howard Hughes, would really get me is that Pershing Square wants to come over the top of, yeah, we'll buy it, and then we're going to charge an asset under management fee. So basically, this business that's trying to spit out cash now has to like hand over management fees to net out for any of its investors. I last time I checked, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the I don't know 70 years of Buffett partnerships and Berkshire Hathaway, did he take an asset under management fee ever? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, like, again, don't come at the king if you're not going to act like the king and do the same thing. This is, I think it's kind of, I think it's heresy to call this the next Berkshire Hathaway as presently constructed. And it seems like a little bit of a ruse here, especially if this asset under management fee really is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the best things about this deal, in my opinion, is it has to be approved by the Howard Hughes board in order to actually come into fruition. As it stands, I'm hoping it doesn't. There's a lot. You mentioned the management fee. That's very not Buffett-like. Um, it doesn't make sense that you want to own at minimum 61% of this entity and then charge an asset management fee. If you're owning 61% of it and you're confident in this business plan, won't the appreciation just be enough? Wouldn't that be, Warren Buffett made his money by owning, I think at the peak, 40% or whatever of Berkshire Hathaway, before he started giving it all away to charity. He made his money by appreciation on the stock, not by taking a management fee. His salary has been, I think, set at $100,000 for decades. In Buffett's case, he makes his money on appreciation. So why isn't this structured the same way? I mentioned the net asset value was estimated at about $118 a share not that long ago for Howard Hughes. So why is he only offering 85? I kind of get what he's trying to do. He's been trying to launch an investment vehicle like this for a while. It wasn't that long ago he was talking about it launching the largest closed-end fund in the U.S. To essentially do the same thing, take controlling stakes in businesses, and that ended up not getting a lot of investor interest. So maybe it'll work this time around. But as it stands, I'm hoping this doesn't go through as written. But it could just be the first step of a negotiation. So who knows? I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You all know how much I love researching new stocks and trying to find the next best investments. So I'm proud to partner with The Motley Fool to bring you 10 stock picks from their popular product, Stock Advisor. Stock Advisor has beaten the market more than 5 times. Go to fool.com/Frankel to get your 10 stock picks now. The Motley Fool Stock Advisor returns are 914% as of January 7th, 2025, and are measured against the S&P 500 returns of 174% as of January 7th, 2025.